Hey everybody, in this Facebook marketing tutorial I'm going to share with you the top 10 most effective tactics that you can use to grow a Facebook group fast and easy. In this video tutorial we're going to focus on these top 10 tactics, but if you want to get more than 10 tactics and tips and growth hacks, I highly recommend you to check out this Facebook group growth checklist we have created that has 38 group growth tactics that you can use to grow your Facebook group. You can get this checklist and this blog post about how to grow a Facebook group very fast on our website 𝐅𝐫𝐞𝐞. You can find links to this checklist and to the blog post and to hundreds of tutorials in the description below. Alright, before we start sharing the top 10 growth tactics, I just want to underline the three main components that you have to master if you want to grow a Facebook group. So the first one is to have the right Facebook group set up. Secondly, you have to use the most effective promotion strategies that have the highest return in terms of Facebook group membership growth. And thirdly, you have to increase the engagement of the Facebook group that is necessary for growing the Facebook group organically. Alright, so first let's talk about having the right Facebook group set up. So when I think about the right Facebook group setup, I think you have to consider three main things. The first one is you have the right brandable and search optimized Facebook group name. Secondly, you have to select the right privacy type and Facebook group type for your group. And third, you have to make sure the Facebook group is spam and promotion free. So the first thing you should do is choose a brandable and search optimized Facebook group name. And the more important part of this is to have a search optimized Facebook group name. You might be surprised how many people use Facebook as a search engine as well. The user experience in a Facebook group is usually positive, so people actually search for Facebook groups they can join and interact with other like-minded people. If you add the main search keyword into the name of your Facebook group, people are more likely to find your group in Facebook search, and then they are more likely to join. A search optimized Facebook group name can also help you to increase the join rate, as you might know that Facebook also recommends your Facebook group to potential members. If you include the main keyword in the Facebook group name, people are more likely to check out the group. So to sum up, have a Facebook group name that both has a branded element. It can be your name or your name of your business or your brand, but also includes the main keyword that is the niche or the sub-niche of your Facebook group. If you have already created a group and you think that your name is not branded or optimized for search, don't worry. You can change the Facebook group name. I have a tutorial on my channel on how you can do that. It's really easy. You can also change the URL of your Facebook group. That makes it more brandable. Alright, the second growth tactic related to group setup is having the right privacy and group type to your Facebook group. Hopefully you know the difference between a public group and a private group. If not, you can see the differences here. But what you have to know is that there is no such thing as the better group privacy type when it comes to Facebook group growth. Whether you need to create an open public or a closed private Facebook group will depend mostly on the niche or the industry of your Facebook group topic. Generally, if it's a niche that is interesting for the majority of the people, for example, gardening, then it is better to leave the group public initially. If it's a more business related group like online marketing, we would start with a private group from scratch. Similarly, there isn't such thing as the best Facebook group type for membership growth. So here you can see all the Facebook group types you currently can choose. However, depending on your niche, there are certain group type features that can help you growing the Facebook group faster by making it more valuable or usable. To give you an example, if you have an online marketing group, then making it a social learning Facebook group is a great way to create a free mini courses inside a group that will increase the overall value and the engagement in the Facebook group. Last but not least, having a moderated Facebook group is also very important. It will also help or limit the growth rate of the Facebook group. Even if a lot of people are joining the group left and right, and you are using the right promotion strategies. But if these newly joined people see that your group is full of spam and promotion, they might immediately leave the group. That also sends a negative signal to the Facebook group recommendation algorithm, which will generally limit the growth rate of your Facebook group. So there are multiple things you can do to moderate a Facebook group. You can create Facebook group rules so people can see what they can do or cannot do in the Facebook group. If the Facebook group is really small, then you have to moderate the Facebook group yourself. But once it's starting to grow, you can ask active members of the group to become moderators, or you can also automate some of the elements of the moderation with the admin assist feature. Alright, let's talk about Facebook group promotion now. Alright, once you have set up your Facebook group the right way, now it makes sense to start promoting it. First, we're going to share some active promotion tactics that work tremendously well. Then we're going to share what is the best way to grow a Facebook group organically without much effort. So there are some low-hanging fruits everyone can use to start growing the Facebook group. You can get the list of these tactics in the group growth checklist as we have talked about. This is absolutely free. You can get it by clicking on the link below. But what if you implemented these growth tactics, these low-hanging fruits, and your group is still small and you don't see any growth? Then you must make sure to implement the following growth hack. You have to create something valuable that you only give to people if they join the Facebook group. This is the trick. It's not a big thing, but it works tremendously well, and a lot of Facebook groups don't do it. So this valuable thing can be anything like a checklist, a template, an ebook, anything that people would find valuable so they join the Facebook group. You don't even have to create something completely new from scratch. You can give away stuff you already give away on your website or on any other channel you use. What's more, you can also use this to ask for the email address of the person who joins the group, so you can send them the free stuff you give away when they join the group. With the email address, you can put them into an email funnel that leads to a paid offer or service you are selling in the group anyway. So with this, you can not only sell in the Facebook group, you can also sell to the person in the email list as well. So if you haven't implemented this growth tactic yet, I highly recommend to create a freebie that you can give away in your group. Alright, let's say you have implemented this freebie giveaway method, and you have also implemented the low-hanging fruits I have shared in the Facebook group growth checklist. Is there anything else you can do? Well, yes. There is also an unconventional way to grow a Facebook group. If you have the budget, you can scale the Facebook group growth by running Facebook ads. However, you might know that you can't directly send people from an ad to the Facebook group. But there are some workarounds that you can use to still be able to run ads for your Facebook group. You have basically three options to run a Facebook ad and drive people to your Facebook group. You can run a traffic campaign, a like campaign, or a Facebook lead ad to get people to join your Facebook group. So when you run a traffic campaign, you would create a landing page where the call to action would lead to your Facebook group, and you would explain in the landing page why it makes sense to join your Facebook group. The second option is to run a like campaign. So you would run a general like campaign so people would like your Facebook page, and then you can invite your Facebook page followers to join the Facebook group. And the last option is to run a Facebook lead ad, where you can also, at the end of the lead funnel on Facebook, you can add CTA to your Facebook group, or you can also sell the Facebook group in the email list. So once people join the email list with the lead ad, you can also sell the Facebook group in that email sequence. Alright, so by running Facebook ads, you can make the growth rate even faster, but it's costly and it won't be effective after a certain period of time. So if you want to grow a Facebook group without much effort, then you have to find out how you can grow the Facebook group organically without paying for ads. And when it comes to organic growth, besides making the group search optimized, as we have talked about already in the beginning of the video, the biggest factor in the organic growth is the group recommendation algorithm. So if you manage to convince this Facebook algorithm that your Facebook group is worthy for recommendation, then you will be able to tap into the best source of Facebook group growth. The question is then how we can get the Facebook group algorithm to recommend our group to Facebook user. And the answer is actually quite easy. The most important factor when it comes to Facebook group recommendations is the engagement rate of your Facebook group. So if you have a good engagement rate in your Facebook group, then that's the most positive signal for the algorithm. This shows the algorithm that the experience in your Facebook group is positive. People spend time engaging, commenting in the Facebook group. So it makes sense to recommend your Facebook group to Facebook users that are similar to the people who are already in the Facebook group. For this reason, in the last section of this video, I'm going to explain to you how you can increase the engagement rate of your Facebook group with some growth tactics. Alright, so here are the 3 group engagement tactics I want to share with you. So the first one is to be an active member yourself in the Facebook group. The second is to experiment with various content formats. And third is to encourage others to post valuable content. So if your Facebook group is relatively small and there is little engagement, then the best way to grow the Facebook group engagement is to be an active member yourself. So you should do 2 things primarily. First, of course, post valuable content and engaging content. And second, comment on all Facebook group posts, whether you have created it or not. Both of them are quite important. So, if nobody's posting in the group, at least you can post in the group. And it's also very encouraging for other people, so they are more likely to post their stuff. So at least I think when you start out, you should at least post once a day. But if you can, you should post at least 3 times a day. So it's more likely that people will see your posts daily. The second of all is to comment on all Facebook group posts. A great sign for engagement is when people are not only sharing posts, but there is also discussion under the posts. So you can spark the discussion by commenting. Alright, my second engagement growth tactic is to experiment with Facebook group content formats. Text posts can work great in a Facebook group where members like to read longer stories, tutorials, or advice type posts. However, in some niches, visual content is king, so you always have to add images or videos to the Facebook post if you want a good reach and engagement. And there are also countless content formats you can experiment in Facebook groups. So you can create Facebook group polls, you can host Facebook Lives, you can create Facebook group events, you can create Facebook group get-togethers, you can create Facebook GIF posts, Facebook prompts, Facebook Q&As. It doesn't mean you have to create all of this all the time. Experiment with them and double down on what works the best in terms of engagement and reach. Alright, last but not least, in terms of engagement, the best way to create a Facebook group that is growing itself and almost hands-off for you is if you have members who are sharing valuable content. And you can also use some features that you can use to encourage people to share their stories, thoughts, and advice. So you can use Facebook group batches. You can also create welcome posts for new group members and ask for engagement and input there. You can enable Facebook group community awards. This is a kind of new thing. You can select the Facebook group experts. You can add moderators to the Facebook group. Alright, before we wrap up, I also want to share a bonus tactic. A great way to get engagement in a Facebook group is to add memes or funny GIFs to any kind of Facebook group posts. So whether you share a valuable story, a tutorial, or a regular post, if you manage to add a relevant and funny meme to the Facebook post, the reach of your Facebook post and the engagement rate will increase tremendously. You can find subreddits or other Facebook groups to find funny memes or GIFs. If you have no idea, adding just a funny GIF with no context whatsoever, it will most likely help. If you want to see this Facebook group growth hack in action, make sure to join the SEO Signal Lab. It's the biggest SEO Facebook group run by Stephen Kang, who has really mastered this tactic to create high reach posts with funny memes. Alright, hope you found this tutorial useful. Don't forget to get our free Facebook group checklist. And if you want to learn more about Facebook group marketing, check out our playlist with many different Facebook group tutorials or watch our video on the top 10 tips to grow a Facebook group. Have fun with Facebook marketing and see you next time.